I guess like from the religious perspective, he taught about like the father, like the relationship, right?
Oh, okay. And when did you come to believe this about Jesus, that his teaching is about his Father, God?
I don't necessarily believe, like, that that's what actually happened, but I just know that's like what most people do.
I see.
He like asserts this divine relationship.
Really?
Yeah.
I see. And why? What convinces you that that's true? I'm super interested.
But I think I just watched like a lot of YouTube, you know.
Okay.
And I used to be religious,
Okay.
so kind of like mixing the two made me think like, did he ever actually like really say that? I've never looked into the history.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of where
Sure. So you.
it's kind of like the burden of proof is on the religious people to prove that he actually said that.
Sure.
And the counters, all they have to do is disprove that there's not enough information to claim the validity.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's fair. And what's your name, by the way?
Oh, Melanie.
Melanie?
Oh, sorry, I have
Oh,
an orange all
that's
over my
it.
hand. I would in other situations.
I'm like, aren't you wanting to like shake my hand? So you're saying that if there was legitimate swaths of evidence that would say Jesus made these claims, you're saying, oh, I would totally change my mind then.
Yeah.
Well, how long would it take you to change your mind, do you think? Like how ready are you to change your mind at the first smell of good evidence?
Probably easily, I think.
Okay.
Just because I've been religious before.
Sure.
So I kind of have like.
Could I take a shot at it? Could I try to change your mind?
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
So, names of Jesus are contained in the four Gospels about Jesus: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. In the Bible, in both the Catholic or Christian Bibles, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are still a part of those. So these divine claims that Jesus makes are like the following from John chapter 10, verse 30: I and the Father are one. And then it says the Jews took up stones to stone him, saying, you, a man, make yourself equal with God. So the question isn't, did Jesus make claims to divinity? It's really, can we trust that the biblical records from Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, can we actually trust that these were really the things Jesus said versus what people wanted him to have said and wrote in later? So I'll stop and pause there and ask you, does that sound so far? Do you want more than that?
For now, I think that.
Okay, so let's roll with that. So why the heck should we trust these documents of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John? Why should we trust that these are accurate representations of Jesus of Nazareth? And there's a lot of good evidence to suggest that they are. The first, to determine if a text is supposed to be reliable from a historical standpoint, you need a lot of copies at a very early time in relation to the event that it's describing. Okay. So the more copies you have, the earlier that they are, the more reliability that you can assume that these texts have. So as it stands right now, kind of zoom out, we don't have anything else in history that has more copies and is earlier than that of anything.
That is early.
Gospel records of if we just took Mark is the earliest gospel.
Okay.
It has the most historical reliability out of any document in history, according to textual criticism.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop there and ask if that makes sense.
Well, I didn't know that actually, what you said, that it's like one of the only, or the most historically accurate, right?
Yeah.
The only thing is.
And in that, there's some embarrassing details. And here's kind of one of the things I would put to you. If you're trying to record history as it happens, that's one thing. If you're trying to embellish something to make it sound more agreeable to your audience, there are certain things you would not want to put in there, even if they're true. Now in history, unfortunately, and sometimes this is still the case in Middle Eastern countries, the eyewitness testimony of women was not valued. So you wouldn't be able to be called for jury duty, so to speak, to testify in a court case if you were a woman. They didn't believe that women had accurate, reliable eyewitness testimony. I don't believe that, by the way. I'm just telling you this is what historically was there. So this is one of the interesting things about the Gospels. The first people to see Jesus alive from the dead, according to each one of them, were women. And if you were trying to convince people in your own era that doesn't believe women that this happened, the least likely witness you would pick would be women. Yet, this is one of the things that is recorded in the Gospels. And by helpful?
I think it is helpful. It kind of encourages me to look and read for myself. Like a little.
We have a gift for you. So I told you earlier that the earliest document that we have of Jesus of Nazareth is the Gospel of Mark.
Right.
And I have just that right here for you. Good to see you. This is another historian on campus who also would say that there's good reasons to believe that the resurrection of Jesus is a historical event. And you work here in our history department.
I do.
Yeah.
But you put me in the spot.
Yeah.
In terms of the amount of evidence compared to other stuff in the ancient world, there's more evidence for that than the other stuff. But because it's religious information, people often tend to discount it, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'll give you a little Bible verse, Romans 10:9. Have a look at it.
Look at that. Oh, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you. So yeah, Mark is a history professor here, and yeah, go for it. He's a history professor here. I actually took him for my history classes. I love Mark. And he also it's his job to teach history. A historian just walked by as we were talking and said, I actually think that there's more historical reasons to believe this than not.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's fascinating to me.
That is
So,
very interesting.
yeah.
I have to take like a class or something.
And his name is
No.
Mark. So,
The timing's impeccable.
the only person. You know,
Right.
many people throughout history for the last 2,000 years have come to believe that Jesus is who he said he was,
Yeah.
and have come to trust him personally. So even though you might know him factually, the good news is that if you actually do come to trust him, there's actually other forms of certainty you can have, in that if Jesus is alive and loves you and died for you to have a relationship with you, having a relationship with persons involves interaction. Like you probably have not had a relationship with a person that you didn't think didn't exist.
Right.
So the good news is if the facts lead that way, for me, what's been mostly compelling for me besides the facts is like I've actually experienced Jesus of Nazareth in a lot of ways in my life for the last 13 years. And he's done a lot of good things for me. And so I think he satisfies both my heart and my head.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
really good. I hope so. I don't know. I was wondering, like, I was thinking about this yesterday, if I believe in coincidences or not, because this has been just popping up everywhere in my life, and I'm
Wow.
like, I don't know. I don't know if I believe in, like, you know.
And the historian Mark just walked by as I gave you a
I
Gospel
know.
of Mark.
Like, well,
And his belief is true that Jesus is resurrected from the dead. He does love people. Like he's actually interested in his creation.
yeah,
What you would expect to find is God pursuing people
right.
and trying to get their attention and trying to lead them closer, which sounds kind of like what you're experiencing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I'll have to look.
You'll have to take a look.
What was your name?
Nick.
Nick.
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
And your name?
Ivan.
Ivan. Nice to meet you
Yeah.
guys. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we'll be on campus often too. So let us know how the journey's going, and if you ever want someone to read that with you, happy to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.